Nobody calls, nobody on, cause I sound like a suicide bomb. Nobody calls, nobody on, keep angels close, surrounded by your karma. Kill up under God, doesn't shield, nothing wicked can harm you. I came to inform you, and when you hear click clack, like when snakes is set, killer angels came with me, they've been dispatched. I know my enemies, their pistol in they six pack, put a cease to the chit chat. It is a serious issue. I possess raps with intent.
Bulldogs may have lost, but that was a hell of a game. We all know Beggs is that great team, and we shout out to the fans because they came out and showed a lot of support. They numbered 10 miles, I guess, but that was a hell of a game Friday. Bulldogs lose 36-33, but it wasn't without our help, and it wasn't without their doing. I'm wondering if they put that turf down to help the kicking game. It didn't. I think they made one, bumble snap on one, missed two, and what was the other one? Oh, they went for two and they got it. But still, it's a 3-point game and they missed three. They left those 3 points out there. Okay, that's the first thing. The kicking game needs to be addressed. They got a star in the quarterback at number 16 and 11, 84, to get these guys going. Down 12-0, they came back and scored 19 straight. Defense, fumble 6, and then a long run and a long pass. So I was just telling my pops there, this is his first game. They was running off tackle for like games and games at a time. And they ran the little bubble screen. They were right out there to him. They wasn't able to get there, and then they kind of outmatched Beggs in a couple of plays. Beggs overpowered Oakmont, 4 plays, probably 2, maybe even 300 yards on the plays, and 4 touchdowns. So the kicking game, 4 plays, and then our turnovers. Which kind of, I wanted to grab turnovers because Beggs turned it over, I think, 2 or 3 times too. So those 3 points in the kicking game and 4 big plays, this game almost could have got out of hand. Almost did, but Oklahoma reeled it in. I like to think of my pop self, and Beggs came back and made some adjustments and kind of settled back down and took it in the last minutes. It's alright though. I'm going to try to go out there and support the dogs whenever I can. What is it, 35 miles, $5, and a little bitty spray bottle like this. It's a great time. Today, however, it's going to be a real important week in the NFL. Now they all are, but this one has a bunch of marquee games. And we'll see how the schedule shuffled this way, but there's 2 or 3, I think maybe even 4 good games on the schedule, on the docket. And I think these from CBS Sports, so they didn't have them in any particular order, so I don't know the schedule. Yes, I do. Just a moment ago. guess I can bring it up online here. Um, I'll make sure I have them right. I don't want to just a timing thing. I didn't get any scores. Hold on. Oh, well, that's a hell of a game right there. Northwestern. Ooh, that's a hell of a game, too. Oh, Tennessee. Well, they just can't make it over the hump. Oh, wow. Wow. 63 to nil. You can't see. Maryland. First sniff for the top 25, and they get it. Arizona State loses to Notre Dame. Okay. Auburn. Auburn beat Mississippi. Okay. Well, there's two, but they were at the bottom of the 25, so. Okay. Oh, oh yeah, that San Diego Oakland game is coming on at 10:30. It's probably not gonna go off till a little after 1 our time. Now I'm getting hoarse, but Houston's tonight, San Diego's Oakland, really tonight. All right. Start with Detroit and Green Bay, and I know last week, and you know forever, I said I'd never pick Green Bay. But then Detroit beat us, so they've got that tiebreaker over us. If the playoffs were to end now, just because they beat us. Green Bay, even if they did win, would still be at least one game behind us, even if we lost. So it'd be half a game. They're 1-2. They'd go to 2-2. We dropped to 3-2, so it'd be half a game. Good enough for a week. But I'm going to have to go with Detroit. I mean, Green Bay. Detroit says. I was thinking maybe Detroit covers, but they're playing the Lambeau, and it's a division game, but they're those home teams, so this Green Bay should be one of them. Take Green Bay, give up 7, they'll give up 10 points. They'll handle Detroit. The Jets go to Atlanta at a 10-point underdog. I'm thinking the game jet team will go down there and cover that 10-point spread. Still don't think, we'll talk about it here in a minute with Jacksonville, um, there shouldn't be double-digit spreads. You really never know what's going to happen. Hell, even in college and even in high school football, I've seen it this weekend especially. Never know what's going to happen, but the disparity of talent aside, there should never be that big of a spread. And ball. So next is one of these big games. I think you kind of drove Green Bay and Detroit in there those big games because even though it's early, Green Bay's 1-2 and needing a home win. They've lost at home already, and Detroit is in that situation where you want to take that step up and be one of those teams that perennially compete for the playoffs. Detroit sniffed the playoffs a couple of years back, whatever, but then they've also sniffed 0-16 and lost their last 8 games last year. So you want to take that step towards being a team that people, aren't poo-pooing, and they've got to win this game. You've got to go out on the road and execute. Begs, perfect example. And it doesn't matter about the stats that you gave up 350 yards and 4 touchdowns or this and that and the other, because in that game Friday night, the final score was 36-33. And you can ask Beggs to a man, that's all that matters to them. So, that being said, and I'm sure sports writers here locally had that game probably well out of hand. The game crowd, the game team, under the lights, you never know what's going to happen. Okay, another big game, one of the biggest games everybody loves, this the local bowl. Denver, an 8-point favorite. And they go to Dallas. Game Dallas team still can't beat good and maybe a little offish game Peyton Manning. Denver by better than 8. Now, and this one isn't because I don't like Dallas. It's just that Denver is fine at home and Denver is good on turf. So they're good on grass and turf, and they're one of the best teams in the league. Peyton Manning's resurgence is a lot of that. And a lot of young talent and the receiving core, but they know how to play. I was saying this at work, Peyton rarely takes sacks. He's got the little happy feet thing going, but it works to his advantage. So I give up all kind of points for that. Take Denver big, and this isn't because the Bears are playing, but New Orleans and Chicago is one of those big games, 2 3-1 teams. Loser starts to think about, wow, is this going to be a 7-9 or 9-7 season? The winner for first place in the division. New Orleans was a little easier because Chicago's tied with Detroit, and it's a big game because the line is a push. And I started Tuesday, I'm off on Monday. I started Tuesday reading the paper, and it went from 1.5 favorite for Chicago to a point for New Orleans. And earlier this morning when I was looking this up, I've seen it at a half-point Chicago favorite and a pushing. So that's by all means, this game is just to be picked. The Chicago is second in the league in scoring because, like I said, right now that's all that matters. Even in that loss to Detroit, they still scored 32 points. Now, their defense is giving up a lot of points, and they're giving up the points when they matter in the second and third quarter, so kind of an issue there, but I got to think about this one. I'm picking the Bears, but I don't know about how much. Because you can get that Saints team where Drew is off his game, and it's really bad for New Orleans because their offense with their great vertical attack is predicated on timing. And Chicago is definitely a team, if there are any in the league, that is all about disrupting timing, making receivers uncomfortable. It comes at a cost of a couple of personal pass interferences or a big play. Charles Tillman this year is taking on Megatron. Let's call them by the names, like Calvin Johnson and AJ Green from Detroit and Cincinnati, respectively, and has both. He shut down Megatron, but I don't know what happened there. But AJ Green, had 2 receiving touchdowns, 200 yards receiving, but there were also 2 interceptions when he was targeted too. So, you take all that. I tell these guys, yardage and yardage per game and yardage allowed is one of the biggest scams in football. Who cares? It's either because you're up 40-16 like Detroit was in Chicago last week, and then Chicago reels off 16 in a row to make it look good and to make the line look right. But the yards didn't matter. Ultimately, 40-32 was what mattered. Chicago still averages 30 points a game, 31-24. Let's hope. The Panthers are 2.5 or 3. Where's rounded up here? You go on these items. I've got Carolina playing Atlanta. No, that's not right. I've got Arizona. That's where you're 3-point favorite on the road at Arizona. Now, if any of these games have a line like that, it would be it. But no, I don't think so. Every week's got a game with a weird score. This is going to be it. 2 teams, super young teams, raw talent, not captured, so it's not effective. But when they meet, anything happens, and I think this is what happens. A team go for 2 or safeties or something like that to where the score is looking weird. But, hey, I don't have any reason to doubt Carolina. I've seen them. Hey, I've seen 38-0. You do that to the Giants, then you can beat any of these teams. So going to Arizona, it'd be weird, but I'll say they do it. Kansas City, speaking of road favorites, is a 4-point favorite. They go not too terribly far. Take on the Titans. This could be a fringe game of the week because of the position the teams are in. Everybody's doing fine in the division. It's early, but we've seen flashes from Tennessee, but not from Chris Johnson. And we've seen sustained football from Kansas City. Now, they kind of are mirror teams too. They're built on a running back, Jamal Charles versus Chris Johnson. Though he's not off to a good start. They've got young receivers and they work on defense. So I would pick Kansas City here. I did because their running game is a bit better. Tennessee might cover any 4-point spread, but Kansas City's game is a bit better. You can say the receivers are a wash. You can say the quarterbacks are a wash and be fine. But right now, Jamal Charles is doing a little bit better than Chris Johnson, so that's the edge in this one. Seattle's a 4-point roadie against Indy. Who was it? All right. Never mind. Indy is in a vulnerable position right now because they are in a 3-way tie with Houston and Tennessee. So they'll be, watching those other 2 games real closely because, they're all tied, so anything can happen. You come in here and you take on the Seattle team who's got their chest just stuck out. Can't tell them shit. And for whatever reason, they're doing it. Well, a big reason is Richard Sherman and that guy across from them. Their secondary were as tall as Calvin Johnson. So when they end up meeting up, maybe in a wild card thing in the playoffs, that could be neutralized and probably get Detroit's craw a bit. Against regular receivers and maybe Reggie Wayne, they love to like hang back and let the play develop in front of them, so that when the quarterback looks, because the quarterback has to look at who he's going to throw it to. So in this case, Luck to Wayne. When they throw it to Wayne, they're running at him to disrupt it, to jump in front of it, maybe even a pass interference or whatever, but they're so big and they're skilled, they're getting there right on time to make it, a no call as far as penalty is concerned. Outstanding play. I mean, literally outstanding. So you've got the crowd at home, when they're at home, that's a lock. This is kind of that game. Can you go out on the road and win? Last year they were 3-5, which is respectable enough, but if you end up having an NFC Championship kind of game against San Fran or maybe even Dallas, New Orleans, any of these teams, you've got to win that road game to get to the Super Bowl. They stick the spread, 23-19. Patriots are a 2-point underdog in Cincinnati. This one, I guess I could say all of them a big game because they all have an element to them, and some, may have that same element, but there's a crucial point for maybe both teams, or even if it's just one in all of these games to make it, be interesting. Now, as far as New Orleans thing is concerned, I'm not looking too hot. There must be a chink in the armor versus a Cincinnati team that's already been hit a couple times. They're not happy. They're in the jungle. They've already been, they're already a couple point favorites. So they're giving up a couple points. They love that. This is the thing here. This week, New England's lack of reinforcement on the offensive end is going to catch up with them. For whatever reason, Cincinnati's offense, A.J. Green, Andy Dalton and A.J. Green and all that is going to work and force New England to try to keep pace. Now, they will early, 7-7, 10-7, 14-10. They'll go back and forth, but into the second half, once, and especially if Cincinnati makes any adjustments, We'll see New England start to falter off in the third and fourth quarter. Brady gets frustrated because he's either playing with the lead, he's used to playing with the lead, literally, and not losing. Maybe the fourth quarter comeback, but used to playing with the lead. And once that happens, then Cincinnati's run game is going to come into play. And this one, I don't think it's going to be as close as all that. Matter of fact, got Cincinnati winning by 9, 33-24. And Philly is a 2-point dog. In fact, they're 3. Then they go to the winless Giants. Here's this one. You're a New York Football Giant. You've lost 4 games in a row, including 38-0. We're gonna call that 38-0. Until the day I die. And when I say 38-0, you'll know that a couple weeks ago, Carolina Panthers beat the New York Giants with all the problems Carolina has. With the inexperience at quarterback, with all that, they beat them 38-0. Now. So you're a New York Giant, you've been pasted, 38-0, and you take this Philly team who's got their own problems as well, and you're going to make them a favorite in your house. Is that what it's going to take? Real quickly, I'm going to say no. No. When the team sticks with the Giants, they lose their aura and they start favoring Eli and giving up the run game. You guys know that. They're up 30, then who cares? But when you match your scores with them, they tend to start kind of panicking and rushing a bit and going into Eli mode, and that's where he starts to make mistakes. For whatever problems Vic and those other guys have in Philly, and they've got them. The whole system thing with Coach Kelly trying to install a 100-player less kind of thing. I wrote 30-27, and it really doesn't matter if the Giants cover. Who cares if you cover? You've got to win. So I'm going to switch it here, but the Giants 30 and Philly 27. Alright. Okay, now here's Jacksonville. $12-point underdogs in St. Louis. Okay, now here's the deal with this. You are a Jacksonville Jaguar, the lowliest of the low as far as the NFL goes. They're blacking out your games. You're not even selling beer. You're giving away 2 beers just to come, and that might get me there. I'll buy 2, whatever, and give me 2, and we'll have a good time. You're a Jacksonville Jaguar. Beyond the Giants, you're it. You're the pale. So, St. Louis isn't a great team, and they're all right. They're by no means great. Because you showed them nothing. You showed no one anything. You were a 12-point underdog. I would not be able to take that. I couldn't take the 19 at Indy. I couldn't take any of that. Blaine Gabbert was a great quarterback at Missouri. They got Justin Blackman, and I really don't know any of the other guys, especially on defense, but that might be part of the problem. If that's it, if that's all I can name, then Gabbert to Blackman, Gabbert to Blackman, that's only going to last so long. Can somebody in the Jacksonville front office get Josh Freeman on the line, please? Taking Jacksonville to cover. And this is the last time. I know next week's schedule may have it set up, but if they do not cover this double-digit spread against the St. Louis team, and they're at home and they've got Tavon Austin and Bradford, and Steven Jackson, so they've got the three pieces. It's just to sustain it over the 60 minutes. Jacksonville should be able to go in there and compete with St. Louis. You want single-digit spreads, it's starting to look like, you've got to play to that kind of talent. I think they squeak out inside that 12 points. Baltimore is a 4-point underdog when they go to Miami, who just got their undefeated season chinked up with the loss to New Orleans. It was a bad one at that. It was a bad loss score-wise, but it was a good loss in this way. And you got the young quarterback in Tannehill and all that, who I would almost compare it to a kind of a Drew Brees, not in the same breath, but a Drew Brees-esque quarterback. Got to see him for that week, and he puts it out at home, just like Drew Brees did, and does Baltimore in. We'll talk to Harbaugh and see what Harbaugh has to say after that. Houston is a 7-point underdog at San Fran. And San Fran will be able to handle them at home. You're not just going to fling it around with Schaub and all that. Defense, again, built on disrupting timing offenses. That wins every time. Then Houston really starts to try to gun it out of there, and they don't. So, another game of the week one, but it doesn't do that. San Fran handles them 28-17. And now, in the late night game, I forgot they were talking about this, but San Diego, 5-point favorite at Oakland, in a game that starts at 10:35 Central Time, which is just after prime time out there. And here it's not going to end until about 1 o'clock, and out east it's not going to end until 2 o'clock. Man. But it'd be nice. It's nice in prime time before the West Coast. San Diego beat a Dallas team that everybody likes, with whatever problems they were having before with Phillip Rivers. And we'll see what happens here. But I want to pick Oakland to win, because I know though they should be able to cover 5. So let's just say, yeah, they win. And another weird scoring game because of the timing, and all that. Timing throws off the score. Or maybe it's just Sebastian Janikowski, kicking 6 field goals because they can't get in, and maybe 1 touchdown. And they beat San Diego 25-22. Now I've stuck my neck out there. We'll see what happens.